Howdy YouTube, a really cool review for you today, and that's because we're taking a look at the 1980 Porsche 935 from Interscope Racing, the Kramer K4. Okay, so here we have this ridiculously cool looking model opened up and out of packaging. Now it is fairly expensive, it is around the $180 mark in terms of US dollars. What that translates to Australia is fairly expensive and it is very hard to get. What do I like about the K4? Well, I will bring in the other 935 models in a moment so you guys can see the evolution, but it was the last of the legendary Kramer cars. Kramer, of course, winning Le Mans 1979, taking the great 911 and 935, developing it into a car that won Le Mans outright. Pretty impressive stuff. They obviously continued to develop the car. You had the K3, and then the K4 was the last version, almost like really an equivalent of the Moby Dick 935, and I'll bring that in so you guys can see. Of course, Porsche gave Yost Racing at the time the, I guess, design or the blueprints for Moby Dick, and they ended up building their own car, which ended up becoming the Moretti Momo car. I'd love a model of that. But this is really the car that went up against that and was designed to compete against that. It looks fantastic. I love the classic Interscope colours. There was also a Fitzpatrick version of this car, which did race and have some success. This particular car was never driven by Danny Ongais, the legendary Interscope racer. It, I don't think, ever raced, to be honest with you, which is why it's a little interesting they chose to make a model of it. Certainly something I'm very happy at because it does look like a beautiful, beautiful car. And taking a look at the car from a little bit of a higher angle, I love the front. The slant nose looks fantastic. It's just a wide, really tough looking monster of a car. There, it is made out of resin, so you do not get any opening doors or opening bonnet or anything like that, which is a real shame because the TrueScale cars were doing that for quite some time, and now they've, I guess, switched everything to resin. It is a little bit of a bummer and is a little bit of a shame. Lots of nice detailing on the car, though. Hopefully you guys can see that. Now, the spoiler itself doesn't come attached to the car. You do have to assemble it yourself, which I do understand why. It does sit on reasonably well. But overall, a cool looking car. And taking a look at the car from the front, you can see just how wide it is. I love the little side scoops at the back here, the mirrors and everything. It is a great looking car. So if we go through, I guess, an evolution of the 911 and the 935, you can see the Brumos factory car there. A really sick looking car, but still very much a 911. Then we come to the Kramer. You can see noticeably significant difference there in terms of the bodywork. Much more aerodynamic, much more slick. Looking even at the back, the different rear wings, the different front. What I think is cool is that Porsche copied the Kramer front and released the slant nose turbo, the road car, which was a limited edition. Then we see the Moby Dick, the Porsche factory, coming back with a monster-looking car, one of the best-looking cars of all time. And then we've got the Kramer K4 that hopefully you guys can see there. Another really cool-looking car. Hopefully you can see the similarities it has with Moby Dick. Obviously the wide front, the longer back. But other than that, it is really its own car. Definitely very unique. Definitely a cool model if you're a big fan of Porsche, if you're a big 935 fan. Even if you're a car fan, it's something so unique and so cool. It looks great in the black Interscope colors. I think it's well worth picking up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review on the 118 scale TrueScale models Kramer K4.